Hey there, how are you doing? I hope everything's going well with you. I'm Daryl Ballard, and in this video today, we are going to talk about how you can escape the rat race. We're going to get some advice from Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad. All right? Now, if you're new to my videos and my channel, I'm always putting up content about how to escape the rat race and doing that with an online business. So if that's something you're interested in, there should be a button right down there. All right, and also I have a 4-day free course. That's the first link below. And that's a free course in how you can start that online business. All right, you can click on either of those at any time during the video. You do not have to wait until the end. Okay, so let's get started talking about escaping the rat race with some advice from Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad. Now, I know that the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book that Robert Kiyosaki wrote is not a new book. In fact, it was published back in 1997. So I would imagine there may even be some watching this video who weren't born yet when that was published. But there is still some great up-to-date information in the book that I think is really important. And that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to kind of summarize with 3 points. He makes more, but the 3 points that I think are the most important for escaping the rat race. Okay? Getting yourself out of that constant cycle of what he calls fear and greed. Fear that you're not going to have enough, and greed, you need to buy things that you need. Okay? Those are the definition of those terms. Greed, not necessarily a negative thing, but fear and greed that drive us to stay in that vicious cycle of the rat race. Okay, so what is the first one? The first one is the rich don't work for money. Okay, the rich don't work for money. They have money work for them. The poor and the middle class, on the other hand, work for money. So what's the difference? Well, the poor and the middle class are the ones who get themselves educated enough, maybe even very educated, college degree, get themselves a job and continue to work on that, trying to progress through time. You know, we get raises over time usually once we've been with a company for a long time, through promotion, through more education that gets us a better job. And we get small raises as we do that. But unfortunately, what we tend to do is buy ourselves more things and continue in that cycle. We never have enough to invest to do the things we need to do. Oh, we may have a little bit in a 401k or something like that, some sort of a retirement plan. But for the most part, we spend everything that we earn. The rich, on the other hand, and we're going to talk about this more on some of the others because each one of these builds on the last one, but the rich, on the other hand, are coming up with ways to make at least some of their money work for them. They may have a job to begin with, but they're making the money work for them. All right. Number 2 is the rich buy assets, whereas the poor and the middle class buy liabilities. Many times they think they're assets, but they're liabilities. Okay, so what's an asset and what's a liability? We're actually talking about financial literacy here. Okay, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket, whereas a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. Okay, we'll do some examples here. Some people think that your home is an asset, but your home is really a liability because you're making a payment on it. You're making a mortgage payment on it. And even once you have it paid off, you still have property taxes. You have other things that are liabilities. Okay? Cars. We buy cars as status symbols and that sort of thing, and we think of it in that sense as an asset, but we've got a car payment. We've got repairs. We've got, it's not an asset. It's a liability. unless you're buying some sort of a car that actually increases in value. There may be a few of those out there. I'd be careful with those though. Okay, taxes are a liability. So many of the things that we have are actually expenses. Education. A lot of times we think of education as an asset. It may get us a little higher paying job, but usually at the expense of huge student loans. It's not generally thought of as an asset, it's a liability. Now, Robert Kiyosaki brings up 4 specific things in education that he does consider an asset, okay? Those would be education in accounting, education in investing, in understanding markets, and in understanding the law as it relates to finances, all right? Now, those are going to cost you some, and if not used, I suppose you could consider them a liability too. Doesn't necessarily require a college degree to get your education in those things, but education in those things are important because it helps us have financial literacy, understand how to invest in assets rather than liabilities. All right, what's number 3? Number 3 is don't focus on income, but focus on your assets. Okay, so what does the poor or middle class person do? Well, they focus on that income. Even what we get paid can be a status symbol. I make so much per hour. I make more than you do, that sort of thing. But if we focus on that income, and especially if we let fear and greed come into play, like I mentioned earlier, fear of not having that income and greed, I've got to have this, I've got to have that, to look good or to feel good about myself, or for whatever reason we do that, we're not going to be wealthy. Now, some people think of wealth and money as a dirty word. What we're talking about here is wealth and riches in a very specific way. This is what Robert Kiyosaki, how he defines wealth and riches, and how I like to define it as well. And we're not talking about something bad, we're talking about a good thing here, okay? And the way he defines it, wealth equals how long you can survive without working. Okay, so you ask yourself the question, how long can I not show up for work and still survive financially? And this is the key here, because the rich focus on those assets. They focus on paying themselves first some money that they can put into assets that will yield them some passive income, some income that comes whether they're working or not. And once you've reached a point, you've probably worked until you've reached that point, but once you've reached a point where your passive income is enough that it covers your bills, you would no longer have to work. That's the definition of wealth as far as Robert Kiyosaki is concerned, and as far as I'm concerned. You see, it's not the evil rich people that we're talking about here. We're talking about somebody who has passive income that can cover all of their expenses. Now, at the point where you reach that, you can continue to work if you want to. If you love your job, you can quit your job, go out and have, work on your hobbies or something like that. Do whatever you're passionate about at that point. You can go out and help people all of the time. You can go out and help others that are in need, whatever you want to do at that point. Okay, now, this is, again, not to say that education, not to say that jobs are bad. If you love your job, keep doing your job as long as you want to do it. What we're talking about here is trying not to get trapped in a job, whether it's something we loved in the first place but don't anymore, or whether we never liked it. We're trying not to get trapped in that sort of thing. We're trying not to get trapped in that I've always got more expenses than I have income, getting trapped in the rat race. That's what we're trying to get out of. After all, what are we talking about here? We're talking about wanting to have a happy and peaceful life. Okay? So back when Robert Kiyosaki wrote this book, the big way of having passive income, the one that was really popular at that point and really successful because of the way the markets were at that point, was real estate. Now, I think not only is real estate trouble sometimes with our markets now, but I think there's a more up-to-date way of doing that, something that didn't exist really back in 97, and that's the online business. Another thing that's nice about the online business is that you can get involved in it for considerably less than investing in real estate. And it may be a little easier, take a little less education and understanding. Not that it doesn't take any understanding. You certainly need to understand online marketing to do it. That's a topic for other videos. But, that's what we're talking about here. So how do you get involved in an online business? There are so many opportunities out there with an online business, and you can make significant money with an online business. What types of things exist out there? A lot of people develop a product that they sell online. Some people actually are doing their hobby, making things. I saw an artist yesterday when I was out at a restaurant. He's got a deal with restaurants, a couple of restaurants in a kind of an outdoor mall area that he puts his paintings up. He actually does some of his paintings while he's there in the restaurant so that people see it, and he has them hanging on the walls. And the restaurants actually, or the other businesses, they may not all be restaurants, will, if people want those, will collect for him the money for those paintings. They can buy them right there. But what he has done with that is he has developed a way that he can make some passive income as well. He's got a website that he can sell his paintings on and then ship them to. He also has some children's books, and he has some other ways, some educational things that he uses for making a little income too. So he's got some passive income, even if he's not doing any paintings. If he's asleep at night, he may sell some paintings. If he's, or some other things that he has on his website. If he's on vacation, he can still be making some money. That's what we're talking about as passive income. It's not only passive, but he's automated it enough that it can happen whenever. Okay, that's something that wasn't available back in 1997. Okay, so what is it? What are the steps? I mean, we're not going to go really deeply into this. There's lots of information on that. I have lots on my channel. You can check that out. But how do you get started with that? Well, the first thing you do is you deliver some free content. You deliver things that are helpful for people. It might be videos like what I'm doing here. It might be blog articles, whatever you like to do, being helpful for people, showing them that you want to help them out with free content. It could be PDFs, it could be short courses that you do with video, or lots of different things that you can do. You need to put those things on a website. So you do need to develop a website. A lot of people think of this as a really expensive thing to do, but to be completely honest with that, you don't have to have a really expensive website. You don't have to have something that's completely custom made for you. It only costs a few dollars to get a domain name. Most of the places where you can buy, like GoDaddy and Namecheap and those sorts of things, that where you can buy a domain name, have web hosting that will cost you, the domain name will probably cost you, I don't know, $5 to $10. And that's a year. And then you can get monthly hosting for a few dollars, $5 a month, something like that. Most of those also have a way of developing a website right there. They have a website builder that are included with them. If you want to do something a little more elaborate, you could use a place like Squarespace that I think is, I don't know, $12 or $15. Don't quote me on that. I don't know exactly what it is. Haven't used it in a long time, but you can make some really nice things with that. Okay, so it doesn't take a lot of money. Now, you may want to do something much more custom and have somebody design something for you on down the road. Once you've got a good income, a six-figure income or whatever coming, you may want to do something a little more elaborate, but you can do it without that for just a few dollars. What are we talking about? Probably less than $50 to get things going there. What you're trying to do with this is creating a list of people who come and see your stuff, and then you can follow up with email. So you also need some sort of an email software, call them an autoresponder, so that you can set up and send people emails when you have a new product. You probably want to have a series of emails that they go through. Again, you can automate a lot of this so that you can have some passive income going. You may want to market a product or a service. Now that product or service, product could be something that you have developed, or some of the services that I've already mentioned and products that you can make, but it could be a digital product. It could be some sort of an educational product, teaching people how to start an online business, how to, train their dog so that they don't, pee on the carpet, or, there's lots of things out there that you might be passionate about, something about gardening or whatever. So many things that you could do, something that you're passionate about that you could create something for. You could also be an affiliate for somebody else's product and make a commission by recommending it. There are people who make 6 and 7 and more figure incomes being affiliates. All right? So that's the kind of thing that we're talking about, so that you can have a online business. You can have passive income that comes in even when you're not working. Not that you can do this with no work. It's something you have to set up. It's hard. I mean, there's nothing that's extremely complicated. It's simple in most ways, but you have to work at it. You have to acquire some skills, but you can do it with education that you can get for small amounts of money compared to a college education. You can start a business for small amounts of money compared to, starting your restaurant or having a franchise or something like that. And small compared to taking a mortgage out on an income property. Okay? And with a lot less understanding necessary than investing in the stock market or something like that. Some people might argue with that, but I've found this more interesting and easier to get involved in, and I have more passion for what I do. Okay, so that's the 3 things, the advice that Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad gave to us. I hope that's been helpful for you. I hope that helps you understand how you too can pursue that happy, peaceful life with some passive income. All right? If it has been helpful, let me know in the comments below. Give me a like if you've liked the video. Don't forget the subscribing to my channel, which has lots of information about escaping the rat race with an online business, and the free course. Okay? All right. Thank you very much. It's been so fun spending time with you today. And I'm Daryl Ballard, and we'll see you on the next video.